Second, share again. Perfect. All right, today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam 3.6.39. Oh, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. I'll start with the verse. Ato bhagavato maya mayinam api mohini yat swayam chatma vartmatma naveda kim utapare. Ato bhagavato maya mayinam api mohini yat swayam chatma vartmatma naveda kim utapare. Synonyms. Ataha, therefore, bhagavata, godly, maya, potencies, mayinam, of the jugglers, api, even, mohini, enchanting, yat, that which, swayam, personally, cha, also, atmavartma, self-sufficient, atma, self, na, does not, veda, no, kim, what, uta, to speak of, apare, others. Translation and proper by His Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. That potency is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord, so it is certainly unknown to others. Again, the wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. That potency is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord, so it is certainly unknown to others. Purport. The froggish philosophers and mundane wranglers in science and mathematical calculation may not believe in the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are sometimes puzzled by the wonderful jugglery of man and nature. Such jugglers and magicians of the mundane world are actually puzzled by the jugglery of the Lord in his transcendental activities. But they try to adjust their bewilderment by saying that it is all mythology. There is, however, nothing impossible or mythological in the supreme omnipotent person. The most wonderful puzzle for the mundane wranglers is that while they remain calculating the length and breadth of the unlimited potency of the Supreme Person, his faithful devotees are set free from the bondage of material engagement simply by appreciating the wonderful jugglery of the Supreme in the practical field. The devotees of the Lord see the wonderful dexterity in everything with which they come in contact in all circumstances of eating, sleeping, working, etc. A small banyan fruit contains thousands of small seeds, and each seed holds the potency of another tree, which again holds the potency of many millions of such fruits as causes and effects. So the trees and seeds engage the devotees in meditation about the activities of the Lord, while the mundane wranglers waste time in dry speculation and mental concoction, which are fruitless in both this life and the next. In spite of their pride in speculation, they can never appreciate simple activities of the banyan tree's potency. Such speculators are poor souls destined to remain in matter perpetually. Lord, for my prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Right. So a little background of this chapter. So Vidura has approached Maitreya and he was asking several questions. And Maitreya Rishi is talking about in the whole chapter how the Virat Rupa, the form of Virat Rupa, and how everything is manifested out of this form. And in this section, Maitreya Rishi shows or talks about his inability to glorify the Lord sufficiently. So even here, the translation talks about how he compares towards jugglers and the devotees, how they conceive the Lord. The potency, the omnipotent Lord and the self-sufficient Lord, we call Atma Rama, the one who is satisfied within himself. And there are several, we know most of them, how we can say the Lord is self-sufficient. There are several examples, like for example, the Krishna, he don't need anyone to make him satisfied. So he's fully satisfied within himself. One example is like he is Lakshmi, like we know, the mother goddess Lakshmi, she serves Vishnu. And other demigods and Brahma, they are looking forward for Lakshmi to, to get her favor. But Vishnu is not, the Lord is not at all in a way attached or seeking that service from Lakshmi. So he's fully satisfied within himself. But there are within every universe all these unlimited forms of Lakshmi, they are serving the Lord in various ways. So that tells that Lord is self-sufficient within himself. And another way is when we do this sacrifice, we offer grains. I mean, Lord is not waiting for us to offer any grains or for any other reason. But still he accepts that. And why does he do it? Because he, as Balaram Prabhu was speaking about yesterday's Sunday feast lecture about the timeless friend, he is, Prabhupada says that as a super soul, Lord is our constant companion, and out of his friendly attitude, out of his kindness, he is accepting whatever we are providing. But he is self-sufficient. He doesn't need any of these sacrifices, but he's out of completely friendly nature with us. So he's accepting these food grains. And also we have the verse Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So even in there, he even accepts a fruit, flower, leaf, or water. So he doesn't need any of that, but he is giving us so much the very easily available items for us to serve him. So he's giving even those items for us. to even we can serve Krishna with that. So that also tells how self-sufficient he is. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions about the froggish philosophers, mundane wranglers, these two, and froggish philosophers, whom we say that those are who bring philosophy in every aspect of their life. And the Dr. Frog's theory, Prabhupada says, the frog in the well, how uh, how the frog estimates the length and breadth of the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean uh, with its froggish mentality. So similarly, these froggish philosophers are trying to estimate uh, the length and breadth of the potency, the unlimited potency of the Lord, and how we can say that Lord is unlimited. Even here, Maitreya Rishi is talking about it is even unknown to the self-sufficient Lord. So it is even unknown to the Lord himself. So what does it mean? Like that tells that he is very unlimited. Ananda Shesh, with his millions of hoods, he tries to glorify the Lord, but still he's unable to glorify him completely. So that tells that how Lord is so unlimited. And also in Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna shows his Virat Rupa to Arjuna, and Arjuna talks that after looking at his form with his unlimited hands, legs, heads, there is no beginning, there is no middle, there is no ending to his form. So that in that way, the Lord is unlimited. So that the potencies are also unlimited in that way. So it is not even known to the Lord, to his devotees. So how the froggish philosophers and the mundane wranglers who argue about each and everything in this material world, they can know it. So it is not possible. So there is a story that I would like to talk, and how this stories I usually read to my daughter from Srila Prabhupada stories. One of those is how the mental concoction. Prabhupada talks about here the small banyan fruit, right? So how we cannot conceive him. But there was a story you might know as well. Narada Muni visiting a cobbler and a brahmana. So when he first visit a brahmana, he says that he's going to visit Vaikuntha and and see Lord Vishnu. Do you have any question, or do you want to inquire anything from him? And Brahmana, he's so proud, and he says that, oh, I know that I'll be going back to Godhead soon, maybe in this lifetime, but I just still want to know just confirm from him, from the Lord Vishnu. And Narada Muni goes to this cobbler who is sincere and poor, and he asks the same question: do you want to know any activities of the Lord? I'm visiting him. And the cobbler says, sure enough, I would like to know even when I'll be visiting him, how many lifetimes, or what is how when I can serve him, those kind of questions. So, and Narada Muni went to Vishnu, and Vishnu says that cobbler will be with going back to me and coming back to me in this lifetime, after this lifetime, but Brahmana will take several other lifetimes. And Narada Muni asks, oh, how come and how, why? And he gives a question, tells, go back to them and ask this question that, Vishnu is doing this activity of trying to pierce this large, huge elephant into the eye of a needle. And you will know. And Ardhamani goes back and he tells that activity to Brahmana first, and the Brahmana says, "Oh, is this a story or what? What are you talking about? How can something like that happen? If if you don't want to tell me or do anything, don't just say me, but don't give me all these stories of it's not possible. It's very impossible." And he goes back to the cobbler, and and the cobbler says that is, I mean, he appreciates the glories of the Lord. He's like, that is he can do it. I'm sitting under this banyan tree, and I see how the tree forms these seeds, and each seed form another tree, and likewise there are like millions of seeds, and each of the seeds gives another tree, a big banyan tree. So it is very possible if such a huge tree is being put in this small seed, so it is very possible such a elephant can also pierce through a needle. So this is the way that devotees, how they conceive the inconceivable, his potencies, and how they see the Lord uh, through their devotion. And we also know what are the other potencies of Lord, how he lived the Govardhana hill, and how he killed the Putana. And we know how Putana, with such a large body, it's like some miles long, and how Krishna, some months old, took the life air of out of his breast, out of her breast. So he is unlimited. Has unlimited potencies. But however, the froggish philosophers and Monday wranglers try to argue that no, uh, there is that this is not true. And their bewilderment, how they try to adjust their bewilderment, they call it as mythology. And Prabhupada says several times that if it is, this Puranas, Mahabharata, and Ramayana, if you just go in and type in YouTube mythological stories, these are the ones first comes up, all the stories of Mahabharata. And they are certainly histories, and but they are chronological, but however, they are not put in, not each and every incident has been put in these books. Vyasadeva, Valmiki, they all wrote this, but if they have to write everything in chronological, like, each and every incident, it takes several pages. That's what Prabhupada says. So, but this Monday Wrangler says that this is purely mythological because they are not able to conceive the Lord, his potencies, his powers. And also, Vyasadeva don't want to waste any time saying this is a mythological story. He wrote several other Puranas, and he went through all the Vedas, and at the end he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. And here he's describing about the Lord. So if it is all mythology, he doesn't want to waste his time out of writing these such a transcendental literatures. And Prabhupada calls, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a verse in Adi Leela 5.176. There, he compares this to the logic of half a hen, the logic of this mythology, froggish philosophers and mundane wranglers. He called the term as, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a term called Ardha Kukkuti Nyaya. It is basically logic of half a hen. We know this story, or this this thing as well. So in that verse, it says one's logic, whose logic is such a way that if his faith is in one thing, and at the same time he disrespect the other thing, then his logic is such like a logic of a hen. And we know the man who has this hen which gives the golden egg, and he, with his foolish mentality. He thinks that, oh, I'm feeding this hen. Why I even need to feed if I'm getting golden egg out of it every day? So he thinks to cut off his head in to so that he can save the expense of feeding the hen. And once you cut off the portion of the head, there is no egg, there is no hen. So the so-called Mayavadis, or the people who try to uh, argue about the Lord, they they accept some things that which is convenient for them, just like this foolish person. Uh, it is convenient to cut it, but at the same time, uh, these philosophers reject something when uh, Lord says, "Give up everything and surrender unto me." They reject those philosophies, but when the Lord says, "See me everywhere," then they accept it. So whatever is convenient for them, they do that. Uh, so this is something that we cannot go about and trusting on these philosophers and all. So whom do we go then? Even in this, some of this purpose in previous verses, it talks about guru and shastra. So go back to a bona fide spiritual master. Through him, we listen, and that is how we cleanse our heart, and you see whom you really are. And this title I put in today, the Conceiving the Inconceivable. There is a book also. I just Googled for a title, and I found this. And there is a devotee also has written a book, and it just talks about how the same this in this mundane world, how they cannot see the God and soul with their logic and reason. So one cannot see the omnipotency or the inconceivable Lord through just pure logic or through reason. So how one can see is through pure devotion, is what it says. And even here, the devotees of the Lord see the wonderful dexterity in everything with which they come in contact, in all circumstances of eating, sleeping, working, etc. So we need to practice seeing a Lord in all our activities, dovetailing our activities to the Lord. That is how they see. That is where the banyan tree example holds true. And if you have example, another story that have is how I know there is something says here about mental concoction, how the mundane wranglers waste time in dry speculation, mental concoction. There is another story Prabhupada talks about, a story about an old man and a prostitute story. So this old man, who is very poor, who lives with his wife, who is very devoted, they live with this wife, but across their house they see a prostitute living by too. So he has this desire to meet the prostitute and get the sense pleasure. And his wife understand his desire. So what she does, she as they are poor, they don't have enough money to pay the prostitute, but she got this idea that she will go and clean her house whenever the prostitute goes out. She goes whenever she's not there, and she cleans the houses very clean and put everything in order, and goes back by the time the prostitute comes back. It happens every day. And one day she hides and she finds this old lady. She is cleaning up the house, and she stops her. She finds her, and then she asks, "Why are you doing this? What do you need?" And she tells that my husband, she wants to meet you, and I don't have enough money, so I'm serving this way. So if you can do, please meet him. So that would be helpful. And she says, yes, I will invite him, or you go and tell him to come for tonight. I will cook something. And then she arranged a feast or cook something for him, and he's very happy to go and meet. And they have she first serve him by putting two different plates. One is made of gold and one is made of iron. And she asked to eat and tell her which one of these food stuff is very tasty, uh, or which one is gives you happiness. And then the old man eats that. Both are same. He doesn't see any difference, and he says both are giving me same happiness, and they are similar. They are very tasty. Both of them are equally tasty. And then the prostitute says that similarly, this the material pleasure you're looking after is also the same way. It says that there are two bodies. One you see as gold, and one you see as not so beautiful. But the happiness that you get out of it is also the same. The pleasure that you get out of it. So which one is good? So in those days, Prabhupada used to say that they are, even the prostitute is has some culture, has some philosophy. So she was able to tell this. So I was coming out of this. Yeah, the mental concoction. This is purely based out of her material desires, like desires coming out of her mind. You see something, you dream of something, and all of a sudden these images come in your mind, giving you a very sensual desire that I want to do this, I like to do this, I like to do that. And we also face sometimes as devotees some sensual desires, whether to go out, have fun out of the devotees communities, and these kind of things. So these are all mental concoction ideas. So we should take shelter of the Lord by taking shelter of his our gurus, Srila Prabhupada, and then we can try to conceive him, the inconceivable, first by hearing. The hearing is one which cleanses our heart and purifies our heart, and through Lord's mercy, that is when we can slowly try to conceive the Lord. I think I'll stop here. If you have any questions or comments, or please forgive me if I have narrated something which is not out of the scope, but forgive me for any mistakes that I did. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for a nice class. Actually, very nice stories you mentioned, and I made it very systematic way. I mean, the presentation was very good. Actually, I liked it. So, I mean, here the verse. I mean, the potency is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord. So I was just trying to remember. There is one more verse. Even the Lord Himself says to Brahma that my potencies are ever expanding. Even I myself doesn't know. I don't know if maybe any of you know that verse. I was just trying to find out in the Veda base. I could not get it. So I'm last few days actually. I think that same thing is coming up because this theme is going on, right? Even the
Yes, the Brahma says.
Maitreya Muni is telling that I mean, who can estimate the unlimited potencies of the Lord? But still, he will try. Right? But whatever he had, that is the way of chastity of speech, and I mean the hearing also will be purified. But yeah, anyway, so this verse directly came here. I mean, I didn't realize when I read this earlier. So that potency is even unknown to the self-sufficient Lord, Maitreya Muni is telling. So, right? This Maitreya Muni is telling.
Yes, Maitreya Rishi is talking to the yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm not sure which verse talks about Vishnu himself.
so Mataji, do you remember? I don't know if she's in a position to talk, but yeah, I think I'll check.
I don't remember that, Prabhu. But I was thinking of something else when Prabhu was speaking. Like my son keeps saying, Amma, there are two kinds of infinities. One is countably infinite, and the other is uncountably infinite. So, in the terms of mathematics, like real numbers. So one, you can at least, it is there and it's a large quantity, but it is some number kind of a thing. But the uncountably infinite, the way I understood it, is that it's ever growing. Like it is infinite, but it is ever growing. And for me, the only example that came to my mind is Krishna and his potencies, right? Like, the famous pastime of Prabhupada like Maharaj says, stump the Swami question, can Krishna make a stone that is so big that he himself cannot pick up?
Yeah.
And then Prabhupada goes on to say that yes, he can make such a thing, but in the next moment he can pick it up. So his potencies are infinite, but they're also ever expanding. And so that was the thought that came to my mind. But so many very well illustrated stories, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
That is the
Even
same
Maharaj
theme.
speaks about
Sorry.
that. Yeah, I just want to quickly say that unlimited thing. He compares that to the waves of the ocean. It keeps on coming. So that is how we can see how the unlimited, in a way. But countable unlimited is something I was thinking.
Yeah, the same theme actually goes there. I mean, the Lord's energies he knows, but again they're expanding by the time he knows. Something like that the Lord himself says, or the Prabhupada comments there. I will find out that. It was very interesting to read that. It was in the third canto only, if I remember right. I was talking to Brahma. Actually, one other interesting thing, I mean, if others have maybe something they can share. I was just doing the Veda base unlimited. I was looking for it in the third canto. It's very
Mm.
interesting things are coming. I mean, from the Veda base, from these third canto chapters, right? I mean, I can read couple of them. Since the Lord is unlimited, his desire is also unlimited. There is no stoppage, and therefore the service of the devotee is also unlimited. In the transcendental world, there is unlimited competition between the Lord and the servitor. The Lord wants to fulfill his desires unlimitedly, and the devotee also serves him to fulfill his unlimited. There is an unlimited oneness of the interest between the Lord and his devotee. And of course,
Mm.
the six opulences of unlimited opulences, right? To an extent. And time is also unlimited, and the spiritual world is also unlimited, right? And then the Lord says, by his unlimited causeless mercy, as innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the Brahma Jyoti sphere of the spiritual world, and in the transcendental world, there is unlimited arrangement for the unlimited.
Mm.
I mean, very nice things are coming. So, and this transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, right? He is self and self. He is the self of unlimited number of living entities, and also he's talking about the time, right? So time is also unlimited, but then he gives the Brahma's lifetime, because which is very, I mean, not, I mean, easy to understand from our perception, the time that Brahma lives. So it is a finite, limited, unlimited. Sorry, or infinite.
Yes. Yeah, there was something also like one devotee asked Maharaj, if he is unlimited, how can we see with our limited senses? How can we, something like that? Maharaj gave a good answer. It's all classes about that, one of the home programs. So I need to find that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, wonderful class. And even the discussion is wonderful. Like everyone was saying, these few verses, it's all about measurements of the universe. And some things that come to my mind is, the spiritual world is unlimited, and then the material world is supposed to be 1/3 of that spiritual world. But if you go by mathematics or any other logic, which means material world is also unlimited, because you take a part of infinity, it's still infinity. It's
Yes.
like in the invocation prayers of Ishopanishad, that's exactly what is said. You take a part from the whole, it's still the whole, and then whatever parts that are generated from the whole is still a complete whole. That's exactly what Prabhupada explains it as. And so the material world, though is 1/3, doesn't mean it's limited. Now, what happens with scientists and mundane people like me is, there are these numbers that we try to calculate. How many stars are there? How many, like how many billion galaxies are there? How many trillion stars are there? And to what extent does all of these numbers mean? Yeah, there are places where they count the number of cells in the human body, and there's a number to it. So, this, what do you say, tendency to measure, it only comes because you can measure. It's not that you have to live without measuring, but in a meaningful way. We have to serve the Lord, so measure the time so that you can divide the time accordingly and pay attention to the Lord, stuff like that. But if you tend to measure and measure and measure, where does it lead to? There are people who earn so much accumulation of wealth that they don't know how to measure their own wealth. So I'll just leave it there, Prabhuji. I just want to thank you for the wonderful class, though.
And thank you for sharing, Prabhu. Yes. We are done. We can close it, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you.
Vanchakalparabhyasya kripasindhuvasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo